Today is Closing the Gap Day. That's when we once again see how dreadful the figures are, a shame and a stain on the soul and the conscience of Australia. Our Indigenous people who were in this land for 60,000 years before anyone else turned up, you know, and they had all these nations and all these peoples, and they had a way of living that made the culture and the country better. And we came and we've done all we've done, and they've struggled. They have struggled as a people, and they're still struggling. And today we're acknowledging all the wrongs that have gone on and looking towards the future. And what is the future? Us all sitting around talking together. So on this Closing the Gap Day, we are having a yarning circle, and that is ingrained in Indigenous culture. There are all the traditions around it. We're all going to be sitting in a circle, and we're all going to do the yarning culture in honour of our Indigenous brothers and sisters. But of course, we'll all start with the smoking ceremony.
It's a blessing and a healing and a cleansing type of ceremony. You might have some sorry business on your mind. You might be unwell. There might be someone in your family that's not well, or a friend or otherwise that you're concerned about. Maybe you've got a child in year 12 who's worried about the exams, I don't know. But whatever might be on your mind and taking some of your energy away, this is about cleansing that space out, taking that negative energy away, clearing that space so you can fill it with good, new, positive, fresh energy so you can keep going. As I walk around, I encourage you to wave it towards you like you're washing your face or something. And I'll start off this way with Auntie Cheryl. And this brother, let's
Yama Yindu, Gajiwalu, Wajiwalu. My name is Les Beckett. I'm from where our country is, a place called Bolling, Kalamala, Burke through Biwarna, all the way to St George, Dirranbandi, back all these areas. But I grew up in Gomeroi country. I am a Gomeroi man, but also I grew up in my grandmother's country. But I come all the way here from out in the outbacks to where Uncle Bill's Cruises mob is very known very well. And it's always good here, come and celebrate everything and activities that we do. To have a yarning circle here is a really important thing, because not only does that welcome to our society, but also gives us an understanding of how we can always teach and appreciate the values of what we do. Not only as a multicultural nation, but as a multicultural nation to understand the differences that we have, but we all celebrate the diversity of culture.
My name is Shirley Lomas. I'm a descendant of the Gomeroi and Waka Waka peoples, and I've lived on Wongal land and Gadigal land for the past 50 odd years.
Well, we've been having a yarn here today about Close the Gap, and one of the biggest things, because I work in schools, one of the biggest things I find is that going to school I was taught that I was a heathen and a savage, and that I would cause trouble, because that's what Aboriginal people do. And today I get to go into Aboriginal and go into schools, and I talk about Aboriginal culture, and I get to share the truth about our culture, our stories, our dances, our songs, our history, our lands and our waterways. And so the fact that we are allowed into schools now shows that a lot has changed, because the lessons don't reflect or do reflect the changing times, whereas they used to reflect an education that said terrible things about our people. Today the education is about truth and about going to explore more knowledge about Aboriginal people, and people are challenged to do that.
Yarn Up or Closing the Gap came as a result of Tom Karma's report to the government in 2005, and at that time he sort of only focused on health issues, but it's gone much wider than that, the whole gamut of issues that affect our people every day. And it's about seeing our both services, non-Indigenous and Indigenous, can work together.
I'm Robert Lomas. I'm from, identify as Gamilaroi. I was born in Sydney though. It has changed a little, but there's still more gaps that keep on presenting themselves. And it's weird, like I look at a holistic kind of thing. Like the government's turned around into doing things where they're looking at privatisation of a lot of organisations now. Housing has become very difficult for our people and mainstream Australia because the government is outsourcing the housing problem and pulling back in funds that should be allocated to the housing crisis.
My name's Trevor Walker. I'm a Yuin Gumbaynggirr man. I grew up on Laperou's reserve out there on the edge of Sydney, and what I'd like to say is that we know that it's complex. One of the things that I often talk to people about is the housing and homeless situation of Aboriginal people, and I work in that sector. We've got a high over-representation of Aboriginal people in the homeless sector, and we've got inadequate housing, and Aboriginal people are still not getting their say in the housing sector.
What that song and dance I did today was about the sea eagle, to pay respects, so you reunite us all here as a holism of our people coming together for closing the gap. My name is Jamali Dawson. I'm also from the Metro Local Aboriginal Land Council as one of your Aboriginal ambassadors as well.